There is a massive link between women who have any sort of estrogen imbalance and their gut being imbalanced. Hello, my name is Sandra Sharpe. I am the founder of Sandra Sharpe Wellness, and I am a certified functional medicine health coach working with women who suffer from gut and hormone imbalances. Gut health, it's really the epicenter of our health. First of all, 70% of your immune system actually lives in your gut. That so many of the imbalances, so many of the chronic diseases that people are experiencing can actually be rooted back to gut health. There have been countless studies that have linked gut health to our mental health, to our hormones, to our immune system and autoimmune diseases, any sort of digestive distress, indigestion, any sort of irregular bowel movements, and even things like joint pain, if you're not sleeping well, if your skin breaks out, if you've got any sort of skin conditions like eczema or psoriasis, these can all be linked back to an imbalanced gut. Your gut microbiome is basically the house of trillions and trillions of different kinds of bacteria that kind of balance each other out. There is actually a department in the microbiome called your estrobolome, and that is a collection of bacteria that is specifically, its specific job is to basically regulate estrogen in your body. So there is a massive link between women who have any sort of estrogen imbalance and their gut being imbalanced. So for example, anyone who's got high estrogen will experience PMS, will experience fibroids, endometriosis, PCOS, if there's any sort of imbalance in estrogen. When it comes to other hormones, so for example, serotonin is actually produced and stored in your gut. So 95% of that feel-good hormone is actually produced in the gut. Another hormone that it really affects is vitamin D, and vitamin D is so crucial for so many functions in our body, especially as women, from your hormones to your bone density to the way our body absorbs calcium to anything that has to do with fertility to immunity. So anyone who's got any sort of imbalance in their gut actually doesn't absorb vitamin D properly, and so that obviously leads to vitamin D deficiency, which is very common among women nowadays, even among kids. And this is why functional medicine is so amazing, is because we actually get to the root of why these things happen. The way that we treat gut health in functional medicine has everything to do with looking at kinds of food that you're eating, and even more importantly is actually lifestyle. When clients come to me frustrated and overwhelmed and stressed, the first thing that we do is we go through what it is that they've been eating or what it is that they've been doing or what their daily life looks like. And the majority of the time, their diets are very heavy on refined foods. They're not eating enough vegetables. They're not getting enough micronutrients. They're not eating enough protein. They have had a history of dieting, extreme restriction, and then extreme binging. They're not nourishing their gut microbiome. So they aren't having the right kinds of fiber. They're not eating things like fermented foods that help, populate certain bacteria, the good bacteria. These are all things that help create this strong barrier for our gut, so that we make sure that we don't have any sort of permeability or any sort of damage to that barrier. It's very easy for our gut health to be affected. The one thing in our body that has direct access internally has the direct access of everything external around us. So the food we eat, the drinks that we drink, our lifestyle, our stress, our environment, the toxins that we consume on a daily basis or we're exposed to. So the reason why women's health is or has been quote unquote ignored or not paid attention to is because women were just simply not included for years and years, weren't included in clinical trials and testing. And so the majority of diets and medicine, even things like birth control, were created by men, tested on men, and on menopausal women. So the women who are in their reproductive years, which is basically from the age of, let's say, 14 till about 45, don't know how to actually cater to their hormones, to cater to their health in a way that supports their physiology. Things like intermittent fasting is a great example. That is not something that women in their reproductive years should be doing. You know, women who have been on birth control for years are now seeing tons of issues with fertility, with things like endometriosis, with very high inflammation, skin issues, all sorts of things. And I think now we have a lot of women, thankfully, in the field, and even men in the field, who are finally bringing this to awareness and finally educating women on the importance of actually understanding how our bodies work. And understanding that we are not just smaller versions of men.